organizations, including Transparency International and the Kenya Human Rights Commission, have voiced their concerns over proposed tax measures that could further burden Kenyan citizens, particularly on the basic commodities. Mariam Jahid has more on this story.
I'll start.
The umbrella body bringing on board 31 civil groups led by Transparency International (TI) and the Kenya Human Rights Commission (K24) has proposed to the government to look for alternative ways of collecting revenue rather than imposing punitive taxes on Kenyans, more so basic commodities.
Despite the government's elaborate plans to increase the tax burden, they have not reciprocated the same energy towards the fight against revenue leakages through corruption. That continued taxation without accountability is extortion.
The rights group have objected to the proposal exempting the Kenya Revenue Authority from adhering to the data protection laws, citing legal concerns.
Poses a dire threat to citizens' access to vital services essential for the full realization of their fundamental rights and freedoms.
Criticism has also been leveled at the ongoing public participation process for the finance bill, with civil society organizations accusing the government of disregarding public views in the adoption of the financing measures. They have threatened legal action if their proposals are not incorporated into the Finance Act.
It is a worrying trend that citizens' voices do not find their way into the final policies approved by Parliament, despite being invited to give their opinions.
According to lobby groups, the proposed excise duty on manufacturers, if implemented without adjustment, could lead to increased reliance on imported goods and dent the local and export markets.
Caused 3 tea-sacks manufacturers to shut down. We had 6 of them. And those 3 that are remaining are only operating at 10% level of capacity utilization. And one company that shut down, 60 jobs had to be lost. Why? Because we are now importing rather than making local production.
Parliament is expected to debate the bill, paving the way for its implementation should it sail through the floor of the House. Mariam Jahid, K24, Nairobi.
Thank you, Jahid, for that report. Still on the same debate, mixed feelings about the 2024 finance bill continue to be expressed in various sectors. Today, a section of Kenyans from civil society groups, along with Bunge la Wananchi, held demonstrations to the parliament buildings to present their complaints regarding the bill. Dan Kaburu with that report.
These were scenes in the city earlier today, when demonstrators drawn from civil society groups and Bunge la Wananchi marched to parliament buildings to present a petition of a 2024 finance bill, which is aimed at raising taxes. According to the protesters, the bill will make life more difficult than it already is, a situation that could lead to many Kenyans losing their jobs. Their march culminated outside the parliament buildings, where they delivered their petition to the members of parliament, making it clear that they will oppose the bill in its current form.
Sisi wa Kenya ndio tunaumia, na sisi tunasema tutapigania wa Kenya wenzetu kama itawezekana, na tutashikana mkono na wale like-minded people wenye wako kama sisi.
What you have done today is a sign that you guys are patriotic Kenyans. Kenya is a free country where you have a right to speak out and to be heard. And I have listened to your petition. Your petition has raised very fundamental issues that affect many of Kenyans in this country.
Tutahakikisha hii petition ambayo mmenipatia iko hapa kwa mfuko, tuingie nayo hapa, tuipeleke kwa clerk sahi, na hiyo petition iwe discussed kwa floor of the house. Finance bill sa zile inafanywa hapa ndani, mimi nataka Wakenya wakuje hapa.
Dan Kaburu, K24, Nairobi.
Right, from matters finance bill to matters health experts are raising alarm about the rushed implementation of the Social Health Insurance Fund, warning it may not deliver the affordable healthcare promised by the government. With deductions set to begin in less than a month, all Kenyans will contribute 2.75% of their income to the fund. Ben Kirira has more details.
The government aims to bridge the health insurance gap by enrolling Kenyans onto the Social Health Insurance Fund.
Our fears is that...
However, health experts caution that while this goal may be achieved eventually, the fund's optimal functionality cannot be guaranteed.
Why are we not NHF? It's only 500 shillings. Now you're coming to tell us here, oh, you can go on Fulisa.
Private companies are motivated by profit. And since they are motivated by profit, they tend to cut more corners.
A health survey by Twaweza Nisisi involving 3,603 Kenyans between January 23rd and February 7th revealed that 47% are not currently enrolled in any health insurance due to the cost.
You are unable to service that debt, and then your new premium is due. And without you paying the new premium, you also don't have health insurance. So here's what I'm saying. You will have two problems.
Experts are of the opinion that the government should have addressed the existing issues within the National Health Insurance Fund before creating the Social Health Authority.
You haven't got the faintest, foggiest idea of what you are talking about. We are not talking about an insurance scheme. We are talking about a right.
Nearly half of the respondents in the survey felt not all ailments are covered by NHIF. 36% cited restrictions to specific hospitals, and 10% noted that some hospitals inflate bills to profit from NHIF.
Our fears is that Kenyans are going to be denied benefits so that these private claims management companies can make much more money.
Operationalizing the funds under the Social Health Authority is emerging to be an uphill task, especially those dependent on government allocation. The Fund for Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illnesses received 500 million shillings in the 2024-2025 budget estimates, far short of the 49 billion shillings requested by the Ministry of Health. This trend is worrisome to health experts who fear that universal health coverage once again might just be a pipe dream. Ben Kerera, K24, Nairobi.
Now, stakeholders from counties that grow miraa in Mogoka now want President William Ruto to intervene in resolving the stalemate in the coastal region that poses an economic challenge in the wake of the ban of miraa and Mogoka business. Now, the stakeholders from Embu, Meru and Kirinyaga counties say the application of different standards in the taxation, levies and handling miraa from other crops sets a bad precedence and paves way for constitution abuse. And as Electin Odera reports, the group wants miraa and Mogoka traders arrested and unconditionally released.
After about a month, sindio watu wa Meru.
The back and forth over the future of miraa business is far from over.
And if you are sponsored to be a governor, to be a women rep, to be a member of parliament or an MCA through illegal trades such as sale of illegal drugs, then tell your sponsors, walichoma bet. They go back to the drawing board and they know the next course of action. Because Mogoka is going to remain, miraa is going to remain, because we have the laws which are supporting this legal crop.
Even as some coastal counties moved to impose a ban on miraa and Mogoka business, the debate rages on.
Those who sell drugs have lost business because the people of Mombasa, people of coastal region, have discovered that it is possible to use a safer product, which is called Mogoka. So that substitution has lessened the demand for the drugs.
That the Ministry of Interior and National Administration to swing into action and enforce that the court order dated 28 May 2024 by protecting miraa Mogoka farmers and traders and the entire miraa Mogoka production value chain from harassment and intimidation.
It is a move that has elicited reactions, especially among stakeholders from Embu, Meru and Kirinyaga counties, who read a sinister motive in the implementation of the ban, even as President Dr. William Ruto pronounced himself over the same.
And noting that some of the stakeholders, namely the coastal region leadership, failed to attend this meeting, and in view of the immense socio-economic impact of the illegal ban to the affected communities and the populace in the value chain, we respectfully request His Excellency the President to further intervene to resolve this statement.
Hatutaki umbaguanji kwa sababu mazao ya miraa ambayo sasa ndio imefikwa marufuku, ukiangalia katika zile sehemu bado tunajua kunafugwa nguruwe, hailiwi na Waislamu, lakini bado watu wanafuga. Kunauzwa sigara ambazo zinajulikana waziwazi madhara yake kwa afya na maafa, lakini bado inauzwa. Wakuzaji wa tumbako bado wanakuza tumbako. Kwa hivyo tungetaka sheria ambayo iko itumike kwa sababu miraa imelindwa kisheria.
While indicating that stakeholders from the coastal region were dragging their feet in the efforts to chart the way forward for farmers and traders, the leaders poked holes in what they termed as double standards in applying taxation, levies and the handling of miraa against other crops.
That those people who are suffering more are those people from Meru because they have not acquired land.
The group called on the Ministry of Interior to swing into action and protect farmers in a bid to ensure they are not eliminated from the value chain and harassed. They want those traders arrested over the sale of the crop to be released unconditionally, even as the Ministry of Agriculture expedites the full implementation of the Crop Act.
The Meru Miraa.
For K24 TV, I am Electen Odera.
Now, the Ministry of Health is in the final stages of drafting a bill to regulate organ transplant services in the country to ensure quality and ethical practices are upheld. Dr. Rebecca Kiptui, Deputy Director General in the Ministry of Health, who led National World Transplant Day celebrations in Uasin Gishu, revealed that the policy guidelines should be subjected to Kenyans for public input. This comes as stakeholders who took part in the celebrations reckon that there is an acute shortage of organs against increasing demand for transplants in the country. Timothy Simwa reports.
World Transplant Day national celebrations were held at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Uasin Gishu County. The Ministry of Health, through the Kenya Blood Transfusion and Transplant Services, brought together different stakeholders to mark this day. KBTTS CEO Dr. Morris Wakwabuvi says it's a day to honor the heroes who donated organs to give a second chance to those who needed it, and a reminder that thousands of people around the world are alive today thanks to transplant.
Yes, we have all these organs that God has given us, and we can be able to donate these organs as a gift to our fellow human beings, without financial gain, without being coerced, without being forced. We can be able only to help these patients if Kenyans can donate willingly, out of their own hearts, to say that if I die, for example, let my cornea go to help another patient.
MTRH Chief Executive Officer Dr. Philip Kirwa says there is a dire demand for organ transplants, but the challenge lies in getting ready donors.
Kenya is still a very big challenge, availability of the organs. A lot of organs that we get from living donors, like the kidney, most times we have to get it from mainly relatives, very close persons to the person who is receiving. And yet the process itself of getting a donor is still very tedious.
Our biggest deficit are the organs. That is where the problem is. Doctors are available, infrastructure is available, but the donations are not available.
The experts reckon the human body has 71 organs that can be transplanted posthumously. Dr. Rebecca Kiptui, who represented Principal Secretary Harry Kimtai, says the ministry is on course to formulate a legal framework and policies to streamline transplant services.
The ministry, we are currently developing a bill that will help in the regulation of the transplantation of organs, and hopefully will be able to mitigate anything to do with human trafficking. At the same time, we are also developing a policy. Both of these two items are being scrutinized, and of course there will be public participation once that time comes.
In 2021, only 160 kidney transplants were done in Kenya against 5,700 patients who were on hemodialysis, which translates to a transplant conversion rate of 2.8%. Timothy Simwa, K24 TV.
Now that report by Timothy Timwa takes us to our second break here on K24 Evening Edition. Do not go too far. We'll be back in a few.
Are you a child